and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you're about to enter, so help you God. Congratulations, you are now members of the 119th Congress.
There's a new Congress in town, and this morning I am joined by 4 brand new members. Republican Brandon Gill of Texas, Democrat Yasamin Ansari of Arizona, Republican Riley Moore of West Virginia, and Democrat Adam Gray of California. And you're the last one whose race was decided, right?
That's right, December 3rd, 187 votes.
Landslide. So anyway, welcome one and all. Glad to have you here. Let me start with you, Congressman Gill. Your conference has had, I wouldn't call it the most difficult time electing a speaker because it was on the first ballot, but we didn't know how it was going to turn out at one point. Are you worried at all, especially with Trump saying he wants this huge reconciliation package with tax cuts, energy policy, border policy in one big bill? Are you worried at all that any disagreements in your party could derail the president's agenda?
Not at all, and I think the amazing thing is we elected Mike Johnson unanimously within conference. We elected him on the first vote the other day. The Republican conference is unified behind the Trump agenda right now. We're unified behind wanting to end the chaos that Joe Biden and the Democrat Party have unleashed on this country. That's chaos at the border, where they're facilitating the largest sex trafficking operation in the world right now at our southern border. That's chaos with drug cartels coming into our country, where Joe Biden and the Democrats have given them virtual carte blanche to operate with impunity, murdering and raping and slaughtering American citizens. We want to end the chaos in our economy, where Democrats have seen prices go up 20% over the past 4 years, while at the same time Democrats want to hamstring domestic energy production. We want to end the woke chaos that they have unleashed on this country, saying that boys can become girls, that girls can become boys, that boys should be in girls' sports, and that boys should be in girls' locker rooms. This is the chaos that we are unified at stopping, and that's what we're going to do. Trump is the leader of this party. He has a mandate. We have a mandate, and we're going to execute.
Congresswoman, you're from a border state as well. Let's just focus on the border part of that for a second. What do you make of, I mean, this is you're a fellow freshman saying that we're not going to take it anymore. We're going to change all these policies. Are you on board?
I really want to look at the facts here. I think if you look at Biden's executive actions as president, we have seen a 4-year low when it comes to border crossings. We can have a secure border, but also not promote xenophobia, not scapegoat, not blame every problem we have in this country on immigrants. I think we need comprehensive immigration reform. I think we need to look at solutions to make sure that our border communities are safe, that we have enough support at the border. But I also believe that for mixed status families, for families, kids who were born in this country, we need to make sure that they are protected. And when I come from Arizona, I represent Phoenix. There are economists saying that there could be devastating impacts to our economy in Phoenix when construction is booming. We need a strong workforce. So I want to work with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and actually pass immigration reform that supports legal immigration to this country.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't disagree with that more strongly. The idea that immigration's been at a 4-year low, it's at an all-time high in this country. We had 12 million illegals come over this border in just 4 years. We used to sit here and talk about, well, we have 10 to 12 illegal immigrants inside the country. Prior to Biden, 12 million coming over the border. Yeah, we have an additional 12 million that has come within this last 4 years. We have to secure the border. We have to close the border. We have to put the American worker first. We're over here talking about having illegals doing construction jobs in the United States. That's not what the working class wants in this country. It's not what labor unions want in this country. What they want is to have their jobs protected here in the United States and be put first. We're putting America first, but we're also putting Americans first in this new agenda, and that starts on day one by closing the border.
Congressman Gray, you're also from a border state, California. What do you make of what you heard so far?
Well, I guess I'm just curious to see if people want to get serious about solving problems back here. I'm sitting here today with you as a newly elected congressman. My district was also elected Donald Trump by 5 points. Why is that? Well, I campaigned against the gridlock and frankly, one of the most unproductive Congresses in U.S. history. And I think what Americans want to see is border security. They want to see immigrants who are law-abiding, hardworking folks get treated with respect. They want a strong economy, and we know that whether it's agriculture, I come from the largest agricultural valley in the world, in California, we need that workforce, and we got to find immigration solutions to have them. So I hope that my new colleagues here are serious. Obviously, the last Congress wasn't serious enough, which is why the American people sent me here and sent a strong message that they want change. Status quo is not going to do it.
So you two are millennials. I was just saying before the show, the congressman here went to my alma mater, Dartmouth College, and I was upset to find out that he was born 3 years after I graduated. But there's been a lot of talk about aging, and you guys are young enough, so don't take offense at this. But there's been a lot of
I'm
talk.
born in 1980. Take it easy. I think I'm kind of
still young.
I kind of make it in
You're
there.
still young. You and me, Gramps, we're together here. But what do you think about the whole idea that people in Washington don't know when it's time to retire? Too many people are staying on their jobs too long. You are two of the youngest people in Congress. I'll go to you first.
You know, I think it's a valid point. I think that Americans are ready for a new generation of leadership. I think both of us being young demonstrates that. I will be the youngest woman in the 119th Congress. And I take that very seriously. The issues that I have always focused on, I used to be a Phoenix City Councilwoman and Vice Mayor, worked on issues like housing affordability, climate policy, and transitioning to clean electric energy, you know, talking about reproductive freedom. These are issues that young people have said loud and clear are important to them. And I think some of these issues we can also work on in a bipartisan way. When you look at the housing crisis in this country, in Phoenix, in Arizona, that's been one of the main issues. We've actually gotten compromise between Democrats and Republicans. We all agree there's a housing supply issue and we want to build more housing so housing can be more affordable. So I'm excited to see more young people in leadership. The new chair of the Progressive Caucus is young. You know, I was inspired to run for office the first time because of that first young wave of, you know, women of color running for office for the first time. And I think it's just the beginning, and we are seeing these changes.
What do you make of Washington's gerontocracy?
Well, and that's exactly what it is. We've seen for the past 4 years the Democrat Party being led by a president who is cognitively declining. Before our very eyes, the Democrat Party had to virtually force him off the ballot to get him to leave.
It is a bipartisan affliction, though. You just had a Texas congresswoman that I don't need to tell you, she had disappeared for 6 months, and it turned out she was like in a nursing home because she has maybe dementia.
And I think that's a huge, huge problem. Young people have seen this country run by an older and older and older generation. And what have we experienced? We've experienced a housing crisis where it's difficult whenever you're graduating high school or graduating college to find affordable housing. We've seen our jobs being taken away from illegal aliens who are coming in, wages depressed because of our open borders. We've seen Democrats wanting to tax working class Americans to pay for welfare benefits for illegal aliens. We've seen the Democrat Party embrace censorship, side with Hamas terrorists over Israeli citizens. I mean, young people have seen the Democrat Party drive this country off of a cliff, and that's why they're moving faster and faster and faster to the Republican Party.
Go ahead.
I just want to be clear. If young people only had voted in this election, under 40, we were both at a new member orientation in Boston, Democrats would have won across the board. So
we've seen a very rapid shift.
There's
towards
been
the
movement, but
Republican
it's still largely young people.
I heard both of you talk about housing. I'm optimistic there that you two are going to end up with a bipartisan bill on housing, perhaps, as young people. Do you think that are you optimistic at all about the prospect, on bipartisan work? I mean, you don't necessarily need to do it when the Republicans have the majority, but the majority it's so thin, it's razor thin.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was in California, I actually founded the Problem Solvers Caucus in our state legislature and believe in bipartisanship. And when I hear, you know, our new president talk about border security and fixing DACA, I see an opportunity. You know, I'm willing to sit down at the table and get that done. I think what's wrong with this town and so many capitals around the country is just this extreme partisanship all the time. You know, there are plenty to point at on the far left and the far right. That's a lot of nonsense. We got to move beyond that, get together, get things done, deliver results, not rhetoric for the American people.
The gentleman from West Virginia has the final word.
Yeah, look, I think perhaps there could be some mutual points of intersecting interest on issues like border, which I think is great. But just to be clear, my constituents have sent me here to this town not to work with Democrats, but destroy their agenda over the last 4 years that has crushed this country, the American dream, and the American worker. That's what I'm here to do. But if there are some issues like the border, child tax credits, pro-family issues that we can work on together, I think that's wonderful as long as we're putting America first.
All right, you know, good luck to all four of you. Congratulations, and come back soon.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Thank you very much.